I want you to imagine hearing this story from someone who still can't say it without pausing, because even after all this time, even after the dust has settled, the memory of that night still squeezes his chest. It's the kind of story people whisper about later, shaking their heads, wondering how a moment meant to be beautiful turned into something that shattered two families and exposed a truth that should never have reached the public ear. It all began with a wedding, a celebration, a room full of love and laughter, and one cruel joke that changed everything. I was there. And what I saw that night still plays in my mind like a scene I can't hear, because it wasn't just embarrassment or humiliation. It was betrayal. Sharp, deliberate, and delivered by the very person who was supposed to protect his heart. It started as the kind of evening where everything feels saturated with joy. Soft lights glowing across the hall, music floating above the crowd, guests dressed in their best, and smiles that carried a sense of warmth you rarely see anymore. He was sitting at the table next to me, adjusting his tie every now and then like he always did when he was nervous. His name was Andrew, a good man, quiet, thoughtful, the type who handled life with steady hands and soft words. And she was the bride's best friend, a woman known for her humor, her quick comebacks, and her ability to dominate every room she walked into. Her name was Kira. They had been engaged for 7 months. Everyone thought they were perfect together. For most of the evening, they looked like any other couple celebrating someone else's big day. They danced a little, laughed with friends, whispered to each other from time to time. Nothing seemed strange until the speeches began. People raised glasses, told stories, shared blessings. It was emotional, charming, exactly what you'd expect. Then the microphone passed to Kira. She stood in front of the crowd with a smirk that didn't match the tenderness of the event. Her voice rang confidently as she began her speech, talking about how proud she was of her friend, how beautiful the ceremony was, how love was a sacred thing. Everyone listened, smiling, nodding. Nobody suspected the storm coming. She turned toward Andrew at one moment and said, "And speaking of love, I guess I should thank my amazing fiancé for putting up with me all this time." The room laughed lightly. Andrew smiled. He was shy with attention, but he appreciated the gesture. Then she added a sentence that made the air freeze. "I mean, patience is important in a relationship, especially when someone isn't exactly blessed in the size department." People laughed. Actual laughter. They thought it was a joke. They thought it was playful. They thought it was harmless teasing. But the look on Andrew's face told a different story. His smile collapsed. His eyes dropped instantly, like he had just been stabbed in front of everyone. A man who had always carried himself with quiet dignity suddenly looked like he wanted to disappear beneath the table. "And Kira?" She laughed like it was nothing, like exposing him in front of 100 people was just comedy. What everyone didn't know was that the one insecurity Andrew had ever confessed to her, the one vulnerability he trusted her with, was exactly what she had thrown in his face that night. And she did it loudly. Publicly. Cruelly. The laughter faded as people realized his expression didn't match the tone. A few guests exchanged uncomfortable looks. The bride's smile stiffened. You could almost hear the shift in the room, the tightening of tension, the awareness of a line being crossed. Kira continued her speech like nothing had happened. She didn't catch the hurt, or maybe she simply didn't care. She finished, handed back the microphone, and walked back toward the table with a triumphant smile, as if she had just won a game. Andrew didn't move. He just sat there, breathing slowly, staring at nothing. You could see the thoughts unraveling inside him every moment he trusted her, every conversation where he had opened up, every time he believed she would never shame him. All of it collapsing under the weight of one public humiliation. When she finally reached him and tried to kiss his cheek, he gently moved away. She laughed again, trying to play it off, but that laugh didn't land like before. It sounded nervous. Thin. Then he did something nobody expected. He stood up. Slowly, quietly, with a calm that felt unnatural in a moment so tense. He took off his ring, placed it on the table, and said in a voice so steady it cut deeper than shouting ever could. "You mocked the one thing I trusted you with. In front of everyone. If this is how little I mean to you, keep the joke. I'm done. The entire hall fell silent. No music, no chatter, nothing. Just silence thick enough to suffocate. Kira froze. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. Her face went pale, then red, then pale again. She looked around at the guests, hoping for someone to laugh, to say it wasn't serious, to reassure her that this wasn't happening. But nobody moved. She whispered, "Andrew, come on, it was a joke." He looked at her, really looked at her, with eyes full of something beyond sadness. A kind of clarity. A realization. "You were supposed to protect me," he said. "Not make me a punchline." And he walked out. Just like that. No yelling. No drama. Just a broken man choosing his dignity over a woman who treated his pain like entertainment. Kira tried to follow him, but the bride stopped her halfway. "I'll never forget what she told her. You ruined your own relationship. He didn't walk away from you. You pushed him." The rest of the night was a blur. People whispered in corners. Some defended him. Some criticized her. Some argued about whether a joke could destroy love. But it wasn't a joke. It was betrayal. And betrayal disguised as humor is still betrayal. Word spread quickly that Andrew never looked back. He moved out the next day. Blocked her number. Returned every gift. Closed every door. He didn't do it out of anger. He did it out of self-respect. Months later, people still ask him if he regrets it. He always answers the same way. No. The moment someone laughs at your deepest insecurity, you see exactly who they are. And the truth is, he didn't lose anything that night. He escaped something. Because sometimes, the moment that breaks you is the same moment that saves you. And that's what happened at that wedding. A single cruel sentence revealed everything he needed to know. She mocked him. He walked away. And for the first time in years, he chose himself.